For decades they have been there, hidden beneath the music, beneath the chatter, beneath the endless noise that fills our radios. Patiently waiting. A calm voice, no emotion, no explanation, just numbers. Then silence. Thousands of broadcasts, millions of numbers, no advertisements, no audience, no official acknowledgement, just voices emerging from the static. If you stumbled across one of these broadcasts today, you'd probably assume it was an elaborate hoax, an art project, a creepypasta, something invented for the internet. But the truth is far stranger. Long before the web existed, before smartphones, before encrypted messaging apps, mysterious radio stations were broadcasting coded messages across the world. And remarkably, some of them never stopped.
7 3 4 5 5 8 1 7 6 9 0.
Governments have spent decades refusing to explain them. Radio enthusiasts have dedicated their entire lives to recording them. Thousands of hours of broadcasts have been archived. Yet no nation has ever publicly admitted operating a single one. Officially, they don't exist.
And I spy why the radio airwaves are buzzing with strange messages. And radio hams around Britain have been excited to discover that the airwaves continue to hum with strange communications. Numbers read, apparently, in random order. To find out what it's all about sounds like Mission Impossible.
So who are they talking to? Who is listening? And why, in the age of satellites, fibre optics and instant global communication, do these ghostly voices still echo across the airwaves? To answer that, we have to go back to the beginning. Back to a world divided by fear. A world where a single coded message could change the course of history.
Three 9 7 1 5 3 9 7 1 5.
By the 1970s, people around the world had begun noticing something strange. Late at night, on frequencies that should have been empty, voices would suddenly appear. Not conversations, not news, not music, just endless sequences of numbers. Sometimes in English, sometimes Russian, or German, or Spanish. Even synthetic voices that sounded almost inhuman. Every broadcast followed its own ritual. A piece of music, a repeated call sign, then the message. No names, no destinations, no explanation, only numbers. And then silence. Radio hobbyists began comparing recordings. They realised these weren't random interruptions. Some stations broadcast on schedules. Others appeared without warning. Some vanished forever. Others returned year after year. Always following rules that nobody could quite understand. The more recordings they collected, the stranger the pattern became.
Tuesday night at 9:15, Barsky would tune into his shortwave radio at his apartment in Queens and listen for a transmission he believed came from Cuba.
All the messages were encrypted so that they became digits. And the digits would be sent over as in groups of 5. And sometimes it took a good hour to just write it all down.
Whoever was transmitting these messages wasn't trying to hide them. In fact, they were broadcasting them with enough power for almost anyone in the world to hear. The mystery was never finding the signal. The mystery was understanding who it was meant for. Hundreds of theories emerged. Military experiments, secret cults, nuclear command systems, alien communication, even psychological warfare. But none of them explained one simple question. If these broadcasts were secret, why send them in a way that anyone with a cheap radio could hear?
Catherine, when you send a broadcast, you're sending out these numbers to the agents in the field to deliver specific assignments they cannot trust to normal communication lines. Do you know what that means?
For years, the broadcast remained little more than a curiosity. a collection of strange recordings traded between radio enthusiasts. Then, something changed. People started noticing that these weren't isolated events. The same voices returned, the same melodies, the same frequencies. Some broadcasts have been repeating for decades. Whoever was behind them wasn't experimenting. They were operating a system that had survived governments, wars, and the collapse of entire nations. Then, slowly, former intelligence officers began to speak, not officially, not on behalf of any government, but enough fragments began to emerge that a picture started taking shape. The broadcasts weren't meant to be hidden. In fact, anyone could listen. The secret was never the message itself. The secret was knowing how to read it.
Chinese.
Well, the Chinese were only using a simple polyphonetically grouped 20-square-digit key transposed in Booster-Verdonic form with multiple nulls.
Imagine receiving a page filled with random numbers. To everyone else, it's meaningless. But if you possess one unique key, every number transforms into words, names, locations, instructions. Once that key has been used, it is destroyed forever, leaving no trace behind, no password to steal, no code to crack, no computer powerful enough to reverse it.
Now, a one-time pad system is theoretically unbreakable, and it first came to widespread use during World War II. And despite its security, it's actually very simple.
It sounds impossible. Yet mathematicians have known for over a century that, when used correctly, this method is theoretically unbreakable, even today. In the age of quantum computers, artificial intelligence and global surveillance, there is still no proven way to defeat it, which raises an uncomfortable question. If the world's most secure communication system was invented before the internet, why would anyone ever stop using it?
Yeah. That sound on the radio sounds exactly like one of the known number stations.
Number stations?
Number stations are shortwave radio stations of unidentified origin. They generally broadcast artificially generated voices, reading streams of numbers, words, letters, backwards music, or cryptic electronic code.
If the broadcasts were real, then somewhere there had to be a transmitter, a real place, a real antenna, a real voice. And over the decades, a handful of stations became legends. Not because anyone knew who operated them, but because they refused to disappear.
Echo Hotel. Echo Hotel. Echo Hotel.
Perhaps the most famous is known simply as the Lincolnshire Poacher, named after the English folk tune that played before every transmission. For years, its haunting melody drifted across shortwave radio before a calm English voice began reading strings of numbers. Then, without warning, it vanished. No explanation, no farewell, just silence. Then there was the Pip, a Russian station that spent almost every minute of every day broadcasting the same monotonous tone, again and again and again, until occasionally the buzzing stopped. A voice would cut through the silence, deliver a short coded message, then the signal returned to its endless rhythm, as if nothing had happened. Also, there's UVB-76, perhaps the strangest of them all. For decades, it has broadcast an endless mechanical buzz, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sometimes nothing changes for months, then suddenly the buzzing stops. Voices appear, code words are spoken, numbers are read, and the buzz begins again, as though someone is still listening. Over the years, listeners have captured something even stranger. Background noises, doors opening, conversations accidentally left on the air, a chair scraping across the floor, tiny human mistakes that remind us these aren't ghosts. Somewhere, real people are operating these transmitters.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Marvin Candle, and this This is the orientation film for Station 3 of the Dharma Initiative. In a moment, you'll be given a simple set of instructions for how you and your partner will fulfill the responsibilities associated with the station. But first, a little history.
Some stations disappeared with the Cold War, others survived the collapse of the Soviet Union. A few still transmit today, which leaves us with a mystery that history never really answered. Not who built them or how they worked, but why, after all these years, has nobody switched them off? It's tempting to think of number stations as relics, forgotten echoes from the Cold War. Strange broadcasts that served their purpose and quietly faded into history. But that's not what happened, because some of them never stopped. Today, at this very moment, as you're watching this, somewhere on Earth, a transmitter is still sending coded messages into the night, across forests, oceans, and borders to anyone and no one. Thousands of kilometers of empty air carrying words that almost nobody understands.
9, 2, 1, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
No government openly admits operating a modern number station. No official explains why they continue. But maybe, if these broadcasts are still being used, they're just working exactly as intended. Invisible, ordinary, hidden in plain sight. Technology has transformed almost every part of our lives. Letters became emails, maps became GPS, films became streaming. Yet somehow, this bizarre system of anonymous voices reading strings of numbers over analog radio survived. Not because it's old, but because in one crucial way, it was never made obsolete. Perhaps that's the strangest part of this story. We spend so much time believing that newer always means better. Then we forget some inventions solve a problem so completely, they never need replacing. Maybe they're no longer carrying messages to spies. Maybe they are. Right now, we don't know. And perhaps that's the point. For over 70 years, these voices have traveled silently across our world. Governments have changed, wars have ended, the internet has transformed civilization, yet the broadcasts continue. Not hidden beneath mountains, not locked inside vaults, but traveling openly through the air around us. Invisible only because almost nobody is listening. So tonight, as you leave this documentary behind, another voice may emerge from the static. Another string of numbers, another message. And if history has taught us anything, someone, somewhere, will know exactly what it means.